Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology's quarterly press briefing. My name is Ms. Jody Ann Reed, Senior Director, Corporate Communications and PR here at the Ministry, and I'll be taking you through today's proceedings. With us this morning is the Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, the Honorable Darrell Vaz, our Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Carol Palmer, and the Chief Technical Director of the Information and Communication Technology Portfolio at the Ministry, Ms. Joaquin Murray. Good morning. A special welcome to our heads of agencies joining us online, our media partners also online via Zoom, and members of the public joining us via our social media channels. Welcome and good morning. Without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to hand over to the Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, the Honorable Darrell Vaz, who will speak to the activities and initiatives of the Ministry over the past quarter.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. P.S. Carol Palmer, Swaki Murray, CTD, our virtual audience consisting of head of agencies and departments, media stakeholders, and members of the general public. I'm aware that members of the press may not have had the opportunity to follow the presentation I made in Parliament yesterday, nor would they have had the opportunity to ask questions. This morning's press briefing will therefore provide an opportunity for questions to be asked regarding yesterday's statement to Parliament. Before opening the floor for questions, however, I will provide a summary of the main points presented. I begin with the work of the Generation Procurement Entity, the GPE. The GPE was given the mandate to undertake the procurement of new electricity generation capacity. The GPE, with technical assistance from the Inter-American Development Bank, is at an advanced stage in the development of the rules and protocols for the acquisition of new generation capacity, specifically renewable energy. There has been a slight delay in issuing requests for proposals for generation capacity. However, it is anticipated that this will be in place by the second quarter of 22-23 fiscal year. And let me just say that I fully understand that prior to coming to this ministry in September 2020, there were several unsolicited proposals that were to do with renewable energy. And since being here, I've been bombarded also because there is a great interest in this particular sector. So I ask for continued patience and to say to them that there will be an RFP, and all of those who have sent in unsolicited proposals or communicated with the ministry will have an opportunity to participate. So I ask to bear with us just for a few more months until we can actually get to the RFP. I wish to also make note that the ministry is far advanced in its legislative agenda. Currently, we have prioritized 10 pieces of legislation out of many. They are the Petroleum Downstream Activities Bill, Petroleum Amendment Bill, Electricity Amendment Indemnification and Validation Bill, Electricity Amendment Bill, the Law Reform Amendment of Penalties Bill, Electricity Net Billing Regulations, Electric Power Wheeling Regulations, and Data Protection Regulations, the rules under the Telecommunications Act, and the review of the Cybercrime Act. Those we have taken out of the batch because we feel that these are critical to moving forward the sectors that they are involved in, especially as we come out of the pandemic. I now turn to the National Broadband Initiative. This initiative, ladies and gentlemen, is progressing steadily. The government of Jamaica has been in negotiation with the Jamaica Public Service with respect to the manner in which it can support the National Broadband Initiative. In this regard, I'm pleased to announce that JPS has agreed to support the initiative by offering the use of its utility poles for the running of aerial fiber. Let me just say again that this has been quite a thorny issue, because the government also, while we are negotiating to deal with the national broadband, is in the stages of finalizing a rights-of-way policy, which obviously would deal with government land that is being used for telecoms and JPS and others. So that is something that is being worked on, but I'm happy to say that during that period, we are still able to negotiate with both JPS and the telecoms companies to assist us in this very, very critical initiative. Tenders have also been issued for contractors to erect these cables in the parishes of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, and Westmoreland. And while the tender process for some contractors are complete, the response to other tenders are currently being evaluated with a view to completing the tender process in short order. Also, discussions are currently underway with Cable and Wireless Flow to provide free access to 2 dark fiber strands on the North Coast to supply end-to-end access from the St. James Municipal Corporation to the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, St. Anne Municipal Corporation to St. Mary to Portland, and Portland to St. Thomas. This will have a huge impact in the connectivity and, of course, the functionality of the municipal councils. So, again, that is progress, and we are continuing and moving ahead with the national broadband. The community Wi-Fi, ladies and gentlemen, you would have heard that we announced 189 communities were selected for our community Wi-Fi initiative based on submissions from each member of parliament. The implementation was originally to be done in 4 phases, but has since been reduced to 3. In phase 1, 27 of 28 sites have been completed online. 1 site, Facey District in Northeast St. Catherine, was retendered, and we anticipate it being completed by February 2022. Phase 2 consisted of 32 sites, all of which have been established, and the remaining 130 sites, including Facey District, are expected to be completed by March 31st, 2021. Again, that is another huge step in the connectivity, because this would mean that 3 Wi-Fi community hotspots for each of the 63 constituencies will be up and running by the end of the financial year. As it pertains to the public Wi-Fi initiative, I outlined my intention to increase the number of public Wi-Fi hotspots by 7 additional sites. These sites are at varying stages of implementation, and I'm pleased to report that we are on track to meet this target. Jamaica will therefore have a total of 20 public Wi-Fi sites across the country by March 31st, 2022, and we are currently at 13. Currently, 7 community access points have been established across the island. These are Junior High, Garlogie, Primary and Junior High, Clarendon, Tivoli Gardens, Drumcore, Kingston, Brixton Hill Primary School in Clarendon, Red Ridge Resource Center, St. Elizabeth, Sir Howard Cook Thursday Group Character Development Center in Nannyville, St. Andrew, Albion Primary School, St. James, and Cheapside Basic School and Community Center in St. Elizabeth. We are also supporting the disabled community with connectivity to the Macam Child Care Development Center, Salvation Army School for the Blind, and Portmore Self-Help. as it relates to Own Your Own Device initiative, ladies and gentlemen, under phase 1 of the Own Your Own Device initiative, 34,042 vouchers have been distributed to date. Of that number, 28,294 have been redeemed island-wide. We're embarking on a second phase of the initiative, which will see students being granted vouchers to purchase either a laptop or a tablet, depending on their grade level. Further updates will be provided as we proceed with this phase of the initiative. I'll now turn my attention to the Government Electrical Regulator. The GER is now fully operational effective November 1st, 2021, and its mandate is to regulate the electrical installation and inspection processes, register electricians, enroll technical electrical assistants, license electrical inspectors, and ensure safe electrical installations throughout the island. The installation and establishment of the GER paved the way for the closure of the Government Electrical Inspectorate on December 31st, 2021. Concerns have been expressed for consideration to be given for the development of a fee schedule for inspection to be included in the regulations. The government understands the general application of supply and demand as a function of price, and therefore our strategies increase the number of inspectors, which will ultimately drive down prices by way of competition. We currently have 79 licensed electrical inspectors in the system, and we expect approximately 35,000 inspections annually. This is a significant improvement when compared to the 16 licensed electrical inspectors under the GEI. I'll turn now to Petroleum and update on the Joint Petroleum Working Group. On October 14, 2021, the Joint Petroleum Working Group was established and Mr. Wayne Chen, chairman of Petrojam, appointed as chairman. The working group was mandated to finalize the recommendations for a minimum economic rate and related improvements to the employment condition for petroleum tanker drivers. The work of the Joint Petroleum Working Group is producing fruit. The working group has agreed on the recommended minimum economic rate of $1,000 per hour for tanker drivers and drafted a safety driver's manual for improved training and upskilling in keeping with our international best practices. This came about as a result of a tour that I made on the invitation of the contractors and drivers down at Petrojam sometime in 2021, where I realized that both the conditions that they were working on and the salary or the wages were totally unacceptable. So I think that this is a huge gain, and look forward to continue working with the industry to make sure that there's equity right across. Another interesting initiative, which is on the tongues of many in Jamaica, is the Electric Mobility Framework. And in the area of electric mobility, foundational work is taking place to ensure a thriving electromobility environment. Work on the fiscal policy framework to govern electric vehicles in Jamaica is far advanced, and it is with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, who has developed a cabinet submission to seek approval for the fiscal policy framework to govern electric vehicles. The submission was also subject to consultation, and we sought assistance from the IDB in resolving issues regarding cost-benefit analysis, specifically relating to fuel. So the matter will now go to Cabinet in short order, and for those who are waiting patiently to buy their electric vehicles, we are hoping to have an e-mobility policy in the new financial year, which starts in April. And once again, I can indicate that the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology has been lobbying very, very hard for significant reductions in the duty structure to encourage the use of electric vehicles. And the government will follow suit in terms of their own policy in relation to public sector workers and the use of government vehicles using the electric modality. So, finally, new institutional arrangements were affected, including the closure of National Energy Solutions Limited, Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica, the GI, and Petroleum Ethanol Limited, all of which are closed and are in the winding up process. For those of you who are not aware, NESOL was transferred to the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, and all budget support that the ministry had has been also transferred. So hopefully in due course we will hear from the Ministry of Local Government in terms of their new thrust and policy as it relates to the NESOL. Advanced activities to effect institutional changes to the Jamaica aircraft refueling services are also underway, as Cabinet gave approval for the cessation of the joint venture with British Petroleum, and of course the science portfolio is also being reviewed. You will recall in my first public statement after being appointed as minister to this portfolio, I committed to assembling the brightest minds to give governance to this ministry. As you know, a new Postmaster General was appointed recently with a mandate to modernize the Post and Telecommunications Department and to strengthen governance in its operations. Preliminary reviews would seem to suggest that there is need for a proper audit of the operations of the entity, and to this end, the Accounting Officer of the Ministry, the Permanent Secretary, has invited key entities within the country's anti-corruption framework to conduct investigation on some aspects of the Post and Telegraph Department's operations, and for the Auditor General to carry out an audit on the entity. We will await any findings and recommendations and keep the public advised. Just before I close, I just want to comment on a matter that has been in the public domain recently, and that is that of the new telecoms company and the license that was granted. So you'll recall in July last year, Cabinet approved spectrum for Rock Mobile after an RFP, and at this particular time, we are waiting to go to Cabinet. I understand that we just got the Ministry of Finance comments finally a day or two ago with additional information to Cabinet for their consideration so that the Rock Mobile will be in a position to know the position of Cabinet and they will therefore be able to continue in terms of making preparations for the rollout of the telecoms in line with the conditionalities that were in the request for proposal. So it is something that the ministry continues to work seriously on, and hopefully Cabinet will get that submission within the month of February. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Vaz. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we will allow members of the media to ask questions based on the minister's presentation. As a reminder, the media is being asked to utilize the raise hand feature on the Zoom platform. Once acknowledged, kindly state your name, the media house you are representing, and then proceed to ask your questions. We now invite the minister to kindly take his place on stage in preparation for these questions.
Any questions? All right, well, I guess I've been explicit between yesterday and tomorrow, but if there's any questions going forward, you can always contact the ministry. We're always available to answer any questions that the public or the media may have. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our program. We wish to thank you once again for